Hey everyone, Al Abaroa for Financial Intelligence Training. It is Friday, it's August 31st, it's 2018, and just like that, another month is done. We enter into September, the month of baseball, the last month of baseball before the Fall Classic, the start of football season. School's in full stride and everybody's back to business for the most part. Now, Labor Day weekend, or otherwise known as the unofficial end of summer, is upon us. So a few things before we get started. I'm back in my Fort Lauderdale office after spending the last few days in Boston, Connecticut, and New York. Now, all the travel is tough and sometimes it results in a mix-up in my calendar. So today, I screwed up and I want to apologize to someone that we had a conflict in schedules. You know who you are. Thank you. Now, I see our president has tweeted again about more good news to come. So let me remind all of you that whenever I make a political statement, it's not about politics, but rather how it can impact the markets. Period. So with that said, Donald Trump's tweet about news in the financial markets being better than anticipated and more good news is coming. So are we having another jobs tweet repeat here? Only is it 1 week early? Does it have anything to do with the Labor Day weekend, honoring those that labored, worked, adding additional foreshadowing to it? I don't know. It's so hard to tell with the man. But my concern is that markets looking for good news, and good news doesn't necessarily come, and then the subsequent knee-jerk reactions that we end up seeing from this. Now, currently, the market's in a holding pattern, much like I was at LaGuardia last night until the Canadian trade talks sort themselves out. All this ahead of a 3-day weekend. Now, as we enter into the tricky September and October months, I would expect to see an increase in volatility. Now recall that when we teach in the financial intelligence training class, we emphasize that trading and portfolio management, well, they're not one and the same. The added volatility makes for a good trading environment, but maybe an uncomfortable portfolio experience. Uncomfortable if you don't know what you're doing. And that's the key, knowing what you're doing. So I want to take this time to remind you as we head into this potentially bad weather. The expectation of diversification as a risk mitigation may indeed fail you. So it's important to understand that your risk pockets are separate, how they work independently, but in concert with one another to keep that portfolio plan in place. So take the weekend, start with your market risk pocket, and check your correlation risk. And a potential way to solve for the correlation risk that may present itself is with time frame and instrument diversification. If you couple that with strategy diversification, well, now you're heading in the right path. So let me switch gears for a moment and let's talk about the nitwits at Welco. Have you guys heard about this? This is the contract. They have a contract with the Department of Defense for 70 years to supply boots to our military. Well, under the Berry Agreement, military uniforms must be made in the USA. Go figure. Well, the family that runs the business did the exact opposite. Those at the helm had the boots made in China and then placed them in boxes in the US and said they're made in the USA. I mean, these guys were taking a page straight out of The Lord of War, a great Nicolas Cage movie, by the way. I mean, holy smokes, how stupid can you be? Well, not only are they losing a great business, but now they're off to jail. And it was reported that at the hearing, the father blamed the kids and the kids blamed the father. Quite the loving bunch, right? Would you expect any less? Go figure. Anyways, guys, if you're trading these moves, remember that stock and stock options involves a substantial degree of risk. If you like the charts, past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, guys, have a great Labor Day weekend. I'm Al Abaroa for Financial Intelligence Training. Thanks for watching, everyone.